Hello everyone, welcome back to Skyrim AE Episode 2 of the Dwarven Empress series. Now, this video is going to be all about the Forgotten Seasons DLC or Creation Club thing, so, that'll be that. So, I don't think I'll have too much to say about it, as you can see on screen, but you can just follow through if you wanted to, or, just watch it while I talk. The reason why I'm doing the Forgotten Seasons is because it has some unique Dwarven things that would fit this character's build perfectly. And I was actually kind of surprised that the few things I found would be really good for the character. And I did get a comment, I think I'm going to address this in my previous video, on why I don't use an Ethereum item, and that's because there's not really a use for it, as originally there might have been for maybe using 2 standing stones with the ethereal crown, or using the ethereal shield if you can't use sunder or something like that, or using maybe the ethereal staff, which I think I'm probably going to use the ethereal staff because it summons like Dwarven creatures, so I think maybe that would be more useful. But the reason why I don't have that on like my very top to-do list, because there's not really a use for it. I mean, the character itself is already pretty decked out and honestly has a lot of like buffs and stuff already added. It's not too bad already. I mean, I've been doing a decent amount of damage. It's not like I'm underpowered or anything, so especially with Wraithguard, and then later on eventually getting Keening, it'd, make it a lot more powerful and a lot more easier to play with. So later on I'm probably going to use an Ethereal Staff, but I mean, if you wanted to in your playthrough, like I said, in the line and lure fishing stuff for the Creation Club anniversary stuff, you could probably get that Dwarven Axe, which I think is called Iruthmagund, or I don't know, I might have to try and look more into that so that way I can mention it in my next video, but that's basically the only thing that I can really say about, that line lure. I think that's one of the only Dwarven things it adds, which is kind of weird. I don't know why it adds specifically just that, but, like, that's random Dwarven stuff, but, oh well. But something else you could use as a character if you can't use, the Dwarven crown thing, which you might want to stick to the end to see a nice little neat thing you can do with the crown and the, masks and stuff. But, honestly, continuing on, what you wanted to do was you could get that axe and then maybe use Keening as a dual-wielding weapon, or you could use the ethereal shield with the axe, or maybe use the spellbreaker shield with the axe, and then use, like the crown or something. Because the crown, I feel like, is only useful for those, the 2 standing stones. That's very useful, which is most likely using the Lady Stone and the Warrior Stone to level up smithing really quickly, or maybe enchanting with the Mage Stone and the Lady Stone, or using the Atronach Stone with the Lord Stone. That's about it. Those are the only 2 good combinations I can think of. Which, anyways, something that I should mention on screen here is I got this really neat little thing that's called the Dwarven Fly, and it's basically a consumable item that you can, as you can see on screen, it floats around in your peripheral vision, and it adds like 90% faster stamina regen and like a certain amount of regen. I honestly can't remember. I think I will try pointing it out sometime in the future. I was gonna leave it in, but no. What it does do is it does 90% stamina regen, and it adds more stamina. So, other than that, nothing else interesting in this area besides the Mask of Autumn. Or no, Spring. The Mask of Spring, I think, it adds health, light armor, and heavy armor. And now you're thinking, man, those stats are pretty weak. I was thinking that too, because I was like, man, for Dwemer Mask, that's, all this trouble just for that. It's not really that cool. But don't worry, later on you'll see something else. So anyways, after that area, I decided to go on to the autumn one. Yeah, this next one's the autumn one. The past one was spring. Spring, for some reason, associated with poison, and autumn is like frost. No, autumn's fire, for some reason. No, wait, no. What is autumn? Because there's 4 seasons, and there's this theme that goes on with them that each one has an element. So there's fire, frost, shock, and poison. So there's 4 seasons. So poison's spring, frost is winter, fire is summer. So this one would be lightning for some reason. I guess autumn, I don't know why. I mean, spring is usually the time for stormy weather, but oh well. Anyways, in this next area, I actually ended up finding all the pieces of the Dwarven horse, which I failed to do in my previous playthrough with Xemnas, and everyone knows Xemnas was just that one character that, oh my god. Also there, you probably saw the Dwarven Fly for like a split second, so if you wanted to, you could pause it like right at the right moment. But in this area, I knew I did not stand a chance against all these Dwarven people because, or not Dwarven people, because they're, everyone's just a person, it's metal, it's Dwarven, whatever. Oh guys, this is my first playthrough of Skyrim AE, and man, these Dwarven people, I don't know why they're attacking me. Whatever. I actually didn't manage to get all the Dwarven equipment in the previous one for the horse, but that's why I was kind of running through here, so I could just find all the stuff and run through. I was grabbing all the wheat and everything, and then I came into the side room where I'd get the Mask of Autumn. And the Mask of Autumn acts as more of a, I think a warrior mask, or no, it's for stamina. I remember that. It's for stamina. And then the winter one is for, magic. Which, in the end of the game, you guys can leave a comment down below. Actually, no, I'll get to that in a minute about, what I should do with it, because honestly, each one is very useful for the character later on. Anyways, after making short work of this area, after running away from everything basically, I went on to the next area, the second to last, which is the Winter's Chimes. Now, in the last playthrough of, of course, Xemnas, that crazy delusional character that basically should not exist, I came through here and I didn't know there was a winter mask. I didn't pick it up, I didn't even know it was there. But it turns out it is there, but it's just hidden for some reason. You have to actually explore in this one, and this area isn't as jam-packed as most of the other ones. Like, this one you literally only fight a total of like 10, 15 enemies, if that. The other one you can fight like 20 or 30 or however long. But, yeah, this place, I kind of like what they did with this whole Forgotten Seasons thing. They're bringing more, hype to like the Dwemer style ruins, and this just goes to show that the Dwemer are super underrated because of the fact that they have mechanisms that can literally affect the weather underneath the ground, like bringing storms and having like literally being able to control the weather, which is a big feat that not many people can do in this game besides like, I don't know, the Dragonborn or something. Anyways, I was kind of just going through this area, killing these people, and I was still trying to look for that winter mask, but I didn't know where to find it, so I eventually thought like, okay, well maybe it's just at the very end and I missed it, or it was on something like an enemy, or it was hidden away, and I knew it had to be hidden, but I didn't know where it would be at, so I was kind of just trying to explore around for a minute, trying to pay a bit more attention. But eventually I was just like, whatever, I can't really be bothered with it. So I just kept going on, and I figured, if I run across it, I run across it. But, oh yeah, something else I figured I should mention is in the next video, I'm probably going to start the winter college, or the college of winter, the winter college. I'm going to go start the winter college, where snow is their main theme. No, it's basically a winter college. I mean, it's in winter, it's in, like, the snow, basically. I mean, like, it's basically the same thing, right? Anyways, after coming across a Frost Ancient, I was like, oh, whatever. This is done, It's a dumb area. It wasn't too difficult. Like, none of these areas are super difficult because I have them all in, like, Adept or maybe Apprentice or something. Because I actually don't have to stay on Legendary for this character because I'm honestly not even overpowered at all or close to being overpowered. So I can safely say that being on Adept or Apprentice is normal for a beginning character. And I don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to stay on Legendary because I have a full set of Daedric armor, and I've got this OP axe that you're technically not supposed to be able to get to, like, level 30. Which, by the way, the Bloodsman Stone Headman Cleaver fantasy weapon, that thing, apparently is honestly pretty useful beginning of the game, so, thought that was a nice mention. But anyways, it kind of bothered me that I couldn't find the winter mask, so I looked it up, and it turns out it is over this way. Yeah. Oh, wait, no, actually, the winter one is like for a warrior or something. I completely forgot. I don't know what, but I was surprised to come over here and see a frosted dwarven centurion. Yeah, I at first thought I was gonna die, so I came over here and quick saved, and luckily I didn't die though, so that's good. But I did eventually manage to kill it. So yeah, but like I was saying, in my next episode, episode 3, I am definitely gonna start the Mages College, but I also want to try and get the the Dwarven House. I have to look up where that goes, but you see, there's the autumn one, and then there's the winter and spring. The winter one looked definitely the most useful early on, but I'll get to that a bit later. Anyways, after finally getting out of that area, I was going to go through a whole nother area, which the only reason why I don't necessarily like this place or these, like, dungeons is because they're very long and arduous, and, like, it's just doing certain things, and they're basically kind of early game, quote unquote, if you want to call it that. I mean, you're not really fighting enemies that are level, like, 50 or whatever, like elder dragons or something. You're kind of just fighting normal dwarven things. They're not too difficult, so honestly, I'm not gonna, gripe on that too much, but, it's just Skyrim, it's just Skyrim things. Like, there are certain areas that are hard, and then there are certain ones that are not, and, oh man, it's just, ugh. I could go on and on all day about the difficulty levels in Skyrim and how they kind of don't make sense, because you've got, like Adept, which is somewhat slightly more difficult, but then you've got, it's like Novice and Apprentice are kind of the same. They're not even that different apart. Then you've just got Adept. Adept is like a jump from Apprentice. That is like what Novice should be. So it's almost like you should technically just have Apprentice, Adept, and then Expert, and then Legendary. Because the difference between Expert and Master is literally nothing. Like, you can be on Expert and still have the same amount of difficulty with a wide variety of enemies besides Master, which is just like, oh, there's a few enemies that are a bit harder. Like, it only affects, like, I swear, dragons and Draugr. And, like, maybe some giants or something. Like, it only affects bigger enemies. So it just makes the bigger enemies more tough, while Expert kind of just makes all of them tougher. So, I honestly think they should just have Apprentice, Adept, Expert, and then Legendary. That makes sense. Just 4 difficulties. It's not like, oh, there's Novice, Adept, Apprentice, Adept, Expert, Master, Legendary. It's like 6 things, and most people start on Adept, play through, and then as soon as they're powerful enough, they jump onto Expert, and then they kind of stay on Experts, try on Master, but then by the time they go on Master, they're like, okay, I'm just be on Legendary. The Legendary is just for, like, that extra hard challenge, but whatever. I could talk about that for quite a while, but, Anyways, continuing on, as you can see, this area, yet again, wasn't that difficult. I was kind of cautious about dropping into the lava, which it's a good thing I didn't. It's a good thing I didn't, because I would have hated to see what happened if I did. I haven't seen anyone fall into it, of course, but this gives me really bad anxiety almost when I'm going over the bridges, because I don't want to be knocked over or, like, pushed off or anything and fall all the way, and it's like I almost get a jump scare out of it or something. It's crazy, but, oh well. Anyways, it's a fine day today. It's a fine day today to be playing Skyrim AE for like the 100 millionth time. Honestly, 100 million times of playing Skyrim. Honestly, I can imagine doing this when I'm like 50 years old and I'm just like, it was time to jump on Skyrim, the Century Edition. It's been pretty good. I like the update where they added where they added pirate skeever were people. Those were pretty cool. Literally, if you look at it, there's actually something in the code of Skyrim that you were supposed to be able to be a were-skeever at some point, which no one really knows what you're supposed to be able to do, but I imagine that a were-skeever was supposed to be like the stealthy option to like a werewolf transformation where you'd get like more resistances, you'd be faster maybe, and you can like possibly get better stealth. The werewolf was more like the warrior, and then you've got the vampire, which was like the OP mage, that one OP mage character that just decided to start using like warrior stuff because everyone knows that the vampire lord's like the most OP transformation compared to the werewolf, which, you know, is kind of lagging behind. I mean, literally think about it. Werewolf is supposed to be super strong and buff, and then you've got like the dainty little lord, the vampire lord that can blow things up, but like the magic is so much more powerful than the werewolf's strength at all, then it's not even worth it. So I can imagine that's what the were-skeever was supposed to be for. Anyways, after all those areas were done, I dropped down here and I saw a bunch of these dudes, you know, that tried to kill me. Long story short, they didn't last too long because, you know, they're all like pretty weak compared to most of the other things that I had to fight. You don't get anything special from any of them, so there's no point in really like looting them. Although for some reason when I first saw the Dwemer thing up there, I thought for some reason that it had glitched out of the arena and I would have had to have fought it in this area, but I guess that's supposed to happen, which I find like a pretty neat detail, how you can see it like watching over you when you first come out. But anyways, this boss is actually the toughest thing in the entire thing, which is kind of what throws me off guard because the other enemies in this were not this tough. And this is on like Adept, so it has a decent amount of health for being on Adept, so I figured, okay, no more magic, I'm going to try and attack it. Now the AI of this thing is super weird, and it's supposed to be like this tiny little thing, but the model is scaled up. So it's basically like the thing, its AI thinks it's still really tiny, so it keeps wanting to back up, but because of its model size, it like, you go to hit it, and it backs up after hitting you, because it thinks it's still kind of tiny. So it's got a weird hitbox and a weird model, but eventually, if with enough trials and tribulations, you're able to actually kill it, and you get the sick piece of armor known as Ward of Seasons, which I don't really need that because this character is only going to be using Dwemer armor, so I figured the thing that actually has more Dwemer, like the more armor rating, the better. The armor rating for the Dwemer piece is like, its base armor rating is like 2 more than it, or like 1 more, but the most important or interesting thing of this is the Turn of Seasons, which if you want to stop and read it, you can, you know, all right there, you could have paused it to read it. But basically what I can remember off muscle memory, it's like for each weather season that there is, or like, you know, climate or whatever, there's different buffs you get. I think for rain you get, you know, better bargaining. For snow you get more heavy armor skill. For normal like climate weathers, like spring or something, basically you get more stamina, or you get something, I don't know, it's just like this book and it's a passive effect, and I figured, oh well, you know, that's useful. You know, you're kind of walking around Skyrim anyways during whatever weather, so you know, it's useful. But one of the better things that I got is, of course, the Dwever horse. I got a Dwever horse. I've got a Dwarven horse. Now, this, by far, though, these are the very best. As you can see, we've got the Dwemer Crown of Spring, Dwemer Crown of Winter, and Dwemer Crown of Autumn. The winter one is for stamina, one-handed and two-handed attacks, and stamina regen. That's really good for a warrior build, for someone who's, all about offense. Spring is for magic, which is better, it's got better magic regen. So I figured, that's also useful for my character. Oh, wait, no. The autumn one is. But the thing about autumn is that, it offers some good magic points and regen, but the two classes of magic I'm not using. So, spring would have been another good option, but spring is good for health regen and health and then defense. So spring is more of a defensive thing. Winter is an offensive, and autumn is a magic thing. So I went with the winter one because I figured, the weapons might be useful. But whichever one you guys think I should use, I'm actually thinking I'm going to stick with winter because winter is better for the one-handed weapons, and since I'm only using dwarven weapons, I figured having a lot more damage output is better than just having some defense, because at some point your defense caps off. So that's why I went with the winter one. But maybe if you guys want to, you can go ahead and put in the comments below on which one would be a good backup choice for later on, or whichever one you think you would have used in your situation. As you can see here, I was kind of just messing around with the stuff. I was meaning to see if I could level up Wraithguard and stuff, which I can. So I think in the next video, I'm going to be more focusing on starting the Mages Guild, at least getting to the part where they go to the Catacomb Tombs or whatever. Getting the Dwemer home, and then buffing up my character's stamina. Or no, not stamina, smithing, so I can start upgrading the enchanted things, because that's going to be definitely useful. But that's going to take a little bit of time to do that, because I want to do it quickly and fast instead of being, doing it the long, arduous way. And I think I might try, maybe if I feel like it's worth it, to go get the Lady Stone and the Warrior Stone, and then also have a full set of because you have to have a full set of Dwarven armor for the buffing, for the smith buffing, or buffing, the smithing buff, the buffing smith. Yeah, I have a buffing smith here, guys. I'm just kidding. Okay. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Really hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and comment. Share if you want to. Tell your friends about it, because this is going to be a really awesome series. I'm just kidding. No, just leave a like. Subscribe if you really want to, because if you made it this far, you might as well subscribe. And make sure you tune in next time for another video, which will probably come out within the next couple days. That seems to be my uploading schedule. So, anyways, hope you all have a good rest of your day. And I will see you in the next one.